Reality TV, social media, plastic surgery. Let's talk about the Kardashians, shall we? Hello beautiful people, today we are finally going to be talking about the Kardashians. A few weeks ago, if you watched my blackfishing video where I spoke about the girls that were accused of blackface, I spoke about the fact that I think many of these girls were trying to copy the Kardashian look because they have had such a huge influence on beauty trends, but have also been quite problematic themselves. So what we're going to do today is just look at the amount of influence that they have on people, young people in particular. But before we do that, please, 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 if you're not already, hit subscribe, hit the notification button so that you know when the next video comes up. There's going to be a lot more conversations that we'll be having, but also I will be coming up with a hair video this week, so watch out for that. Also, please follow me on Instagram. Every time I do one of these videos, I ask my followers to get involved, share their opinions, and it really helps me put your opinions into these videos. So follow me there and you can get involved in the conversation as well. So it might be quite hard, especially if you're younger, to remember a time before the Kardashians. I'm 26 and I definitely remember them kind of coming in when I was in my teens. That's when I first really started hearing about the Kardashian family. Obviously, Keeping Up with the Kardashians is one of the most successful reality TV shows of all time, and we are going to go over that. But prior to that even existing, the Kardashians had a name for themselves, mainly because of their father, Robert Kardashian, who was a businessman but also an attorney who famously helped O.J. Simpson in his trial, and we all know how that went. Now, Robert Kardashian is the father of 4 of the Kardashian families: Kim, Kourtney, Khloe and Rob. And then after Kris, the mum, and Robert Sr. got divorced in 2001, she went on to remarry and she had 2 more children, Kylie and Kendall, with then Bruce Jenner, now Caitlyn Jenner. Hopefully that summarizes everything. Now, something happened in 2006, which we're not going to go into too much detail about. But prior to that happening, Kim Kardashian was a stylist to Brandy, the sister of Ray J, as well as Lindsay Lohan's and Paris Hilton's. Something to do with them. She wasn't really famous within her own right, but then that thing happened and it was like boom. Now after that, the 14th of October 2007, Ryan Seacrest pushed forward and debuted his new hit series Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and within the first month of it being on air, it became literally the highest rated series on a Sunday night with 18 to 34 year olds. It had 1.3 million viewers back then. At different times it's had up to 5 million viewers, and it is one of the longest running reality TV shows of all time and has still remained very, very popular to this day. Now, even though it is supposedly most popular with 18 to 34 year olds, what is really interesting is between 2008 and 2017, every single year a member of the family or the program itself has been put forward and nominated for the Teen Choice Awards. Me, again, being a teacher of teenagers, my main focus is how much influence they have on young people, and it is very, very clear that even from the start they've always had a real massive impact. I'm going to say something that I'm going to repeat quite a few times throughout this video, and that is the Kardashian effect. And that's not something that I have just made up for myself or coined myself. This is something that has been used quite a lot by people that study the trends in the media, but also other trends within our society, which I'll go over. Now, the Kardashian effect is referred to in the film Generation Wealth, which focuses on how society has now changed so that people are focusing on wealth and fame and so on. And within that, it talks about how Kardashians are famous for being famous, and this is something that people now aspire to be. Now, obviously there's been plenty of other reality TV shows throughout the years, but what the Kardashians do, and they do very, very well, is show us how absolutely amazing and affluent and luxurious their lives are, when really for a long time they weren't doing much. Now obviously they have their businesses and so on in the show. I'm not going to pretend that I watch the show regularly, and they've had their own like branch off shows where they're doing like different business ventures and so on. But as Ozzy Osbourne put it very recently, many of us are very, very confused about what they're famous for, like what they do. Ozzy Osbourne being someone that had his own reality TV show, but was a rock star for many years before that. Now, obviously, times have progressed from when it first started in 2007 and it had 1.3 million viewers. The Kardashians are followed by millions and millions of people. Kim and Kylie are two of the most followed people on Instagram as a whole, and the rest of the family are also followed in the millions. Even if you don't want to follow these Kardashians, it's almost impossible not to know what they're constantly doing because you are fed it all the time. If you don't follow them, you might follow a page that talks about celebrity gossip and it's going to come up. It's on the Daily Mail, it's on various other tabloids, sensationalist papers or online news outlets and so on. It's pretty much impossible to escape the Kardashians with how much they are just everywhere, especially on social media, which is basically a way of getting constant advertising for you. As of August 2018, Kylie Jenner was worth $900 million. Let that sink in. She is almost a billionaire. That's because her lip kits are worth $800 million. Kim is worth $350 million. Again, a lot of that is due to how much she's earned from her own makeup range, and the others have a large amount of money as well, but nowhere near the top two. Now, what I find quite irritating in a way, not that I'm at all hateful or I don't give props to women that form their own businesses. I am a phenomenal woman, I appreciate other phenomenal women, but what does annoy me slightly about this is the fact that Kylie Jenner was proclaimed as soon to be one of the first self-made billionaires, and Kim Kardashian was also 54th on Forbes' 4th annual richest self-made women list. I only find that particularly frustrating because I don't see how it can be considered as self-made if they started off with so much wealth and they were also kind of propelled with the show and social media. To kind of compare them to someone that started off with basically nothing is kind of difficult. Nonetheless, they have influenced many other women to get into doing their own businesses, which is obviously a great thing. However, they influence women in other ways. One being plastic surgery, and when I was doing my research, plenty of doctors and surgeons were again referring to the Kardashian effect, but in this sense talking about how women are trying to change themselves to emulate the Kardashians. What's interesting is although each of the Kardashians is worth millions, 75% of people that go and get plastic surgery earn less than $50,000 a year. But a lot of people feel the need, for whatever reason, to take large sums of their money and put it towards plastic surgery, and I would argue a lot of the reason behind that would be the influence of the Kardashians. Dr. Wright Jones, founder of Muse Plastic Surgery, identified 3 separate types of plastic surgery that have become increasingly popular because of the Kardashians. Now, I know you already know what the first one is, but let's just go into it anyway. And the first one is the Brazilian butt lift, or BBL. Now, this is basically removing fat or taking fat from areas like the stomach, the back, so as to get a smaller waistline, maybe even the thighs, and putting it in places where you want them to be, most likely the hips and bum, basically to emulate that stereotypically curvy Kardashian figure. Its popularity has gone up loads in the past few years. Since 2016 to 2017, the American Society of Plastic Surgeons say the amount of procedures done has gone up by 10%. However, what that doesn't take into account is how many people go outside of America to go and get this procedure done, because plenty of people find it to be cheaper in places in South America, or they get it done illegally within America. In the UK, it is also popular. However, in October of this year, the British, this is really difficult for me to say, it's a tongue twister, but the British Association of Aesthetic Plastic Surgeons, BAPS, have warned members to stop doing it, basically, because it is so dangerous. It is by far the most dangerous plastic surgery that people can do. 1 in 3,000 people that get the surgery done die because of the surgery, and that might not seem like a lot, but if you think about the hundreds of thousands of women doing it, you can kind of understand that that does affect quite a lot of people. And the main reason it is so dangerous is because there's a risk that injecting the fat into the bum or into the hips could result in the fat being injected into a blood vessel, causing a fatal blockage and then ultimately death. Now, what's obviously more concerning is this is something that's been said by the British Association, BAPS, I'm not going to try and say it all again, and they are people that are trained to do this. However, The cost of getting it done in the UK and in America is extremely high. Like I said before, many people go to other countries like Turkey, like countries in South America, to get it done because they know that it can be cheaper. But when you think about how high the risks are, surely you'd hope that people will go at least to someone that is more professionally trained or will be doing it for a higher price rather than getting it for cheap. I don't know, but it is incredibly worrying. Moving on. Dr. Wright Jones then went on to say that another thing that people have been influenced to do is lip augmentations, and this is something that I think we have all noticed in the last few years, and this is going back to Kylie. Now, it took months to admit that she had had her lips done, even though looking at it, the change is so dramatic. It's shocking that she thought that she could not say anything without people noticing. The amount of people that are going to get their lips done has gone up dramatically since then, and by Kylie doing this to her lips, by plumping them up, she was able to sell more products. $800 million worth of lip kits have been sold by her lips. Now, if you think back to when her lip kits first came out, the whole point of them was to make your lips look plumper. So she was talking about how you can overdraw the lip line to make your lips look fuller, when in actuality she'd just gone and got surgery. So in a way she was kind of lying to her fans, but who am I to judge? Finally, the last surgery, which has been popular for a long time but has also been influenced by the Kardashians, is breast augmentation or breast implants. Now, other than liposuction, this is one of the most popular plastic surgeries, and it has been for years. But Dr. Wright Jones says that it again goes with the trend of curvier figures, which is being pushed forward by the Kardashian family. Now, when discussing what he would define as the Kardashian effect, I wrote it down, so let me read it out to you. First quote of the day. He said, "The Kardashian effect is simple, enhance and embrace. It is a paradigm that has shown women how to present themselves to the world after altering their bodies. The opinion about their appearance may vary, but the overwhelming influence in beauty and fashion is undeniable." Although many people did comment to me saying that they think it's amazing that women embrace their bodies, especially when curvier figures were kind of dismissed for so long, and the stick thin supermodel look was definitely something that people were trying to aspire to be. Him saying this shows how there's been a shift, because for a very long time people didn't really readily admit to getting plastic surgery. It wasn't something that you would talk about or show, whereas now it seems like people are really happy to show off their post-op bodies and will openly talk about it. Now, this could be a positive or negative, and to be honest, what you do with your body is your choice. There's so much noise outside, it's driving me insane. One sec. Can you believe this? Hopefully that's done now. What I was saying is, what I find interesting is how now people flaunt it more. It's something that people are really proud of, to show off how much surgery they've had, whereas before it wasn't something that was so readily talked about. And again, I feel like that kind of reflects how people were inspired perhaps by Kylie embracing the fact that she had her lips done, or Khloe talking about the fillers. What's really interesting to me is that the Kardashians have not admitted, none of them have admitted to getting any of their body done, which I'm not willing to go into, because I think it speaks for itself whether they have or have not had any surgeries. But yeah, it's interesting how the world is kind of following suit and is really proud to show off what is actually quite an unnatural looking physique of an incredibly large bum with thighs and a waist that don't really look in proportion to that. I watched a video recently on YouTube, which I'll definitely link below, of a girl talking about this, talking about how Fashion Nova also kind of uses these women with an impossibly curvy shape, with no cellulite and nothing. And it's just interesting how body standards have changed so much that it's like, this is now what we aspire to be, which is pretty much impossible unless you have insanely good genes. Now, I cannot express enough how much influence the Kardashians have had on beauty standards, beauty trends and so on. Like, again, I said in my previous video, what we used to see on the front covers of magazines has changed a lot, and what seems to be the main thing that people are interested in becoming or looking like is racially ambiguous. Now, obviously the Kardashians, the ones that were Rob's children, are half Armenian. However, Kylie and Kendall are both completely white, and Kylie in particular has come under fire with having lip fillers and having her hair in certain styles, much like Kim, that are seen as taking elements of black culture and putting them on themselves. Now, I went online and I did my research because I thought that surely there must be some form of response to this, and there is. Now finally, Kim spoke about the backlash that she's received for having her hair in braids. On BeautyCon in LA in July, she said this statement, again, quotes, "I've definitely had my fair share of backlash when I've worn braids. I've been fortunate to be able to travel around the world and see so many different cultures that have so many different beauty trends. I just think if it comes from a place of love and you're using it as cultural inspiration, then I think it's okay. Sometimes I think maybe if you don't communicate where you got the inspiration from, and I've done that in the past, yeah, you have, and people might not understand it, but yeah, I think as long as it comes from a place of love and you're getting inspired, then it is okay." Now, I want you to pay attention to this. Whether you agree or disagree with her is one thing, because I know so many people are incredibly angry with her having braids and kind of stealing the culture and so on. But I want you to think back to how many followers Kim Kardashian has. She has 121 million followers as of today. I'm sure within a few weeks that's going to change. And Kylie Jenner, who has had braids, had lip fillers, she has even more followers. She has the most out of all of the family. There are plenty of girls out there that are going so far as to get plastic surgery to look like Kim and Kylie Kardashian. All over the world. Within Western countries, within Arab countries, this is a massive trend, and I'm telling you now, the amount of women that I saw that were literally copy and paste of Kim Kardashian when I was living in Dubai is insane. That being the case, the people that aspire to look like Kim and Kylie Kardashian are going to blindly follow and do this cute new boxer braid hairstyle without thinking about the consequences, without thinking about the cultural implications or the cultural appropriation, because if they're doing it, it means that they think it's okay. So again, just briefly touching on the backlash that these girls have received, the blackfishing thing, I genuinely don't think the majority of them are trying to look black. It's almost like they're completely blind to what was originally black. So for example, Fulani braids. They just see Kim or Kylie and they're trying to follow that. That's what people are trying to aspire to be. And this is what is being said by various people that look at society, so look at the influences of the media and so on, but also plastic surgeons, as well as people that follow makeup trends and so on. The Kardashians are what people are aspiring to look like. That's why, again, really briefly, I think you need to look at the intent and the context of these girls, because I'm telling you now, so many of them are completely oblivious to what they're doing. I'm not talking about the girls that took it way too far, like way too far, but you know what I mean. The girls have a bit of a tan, they've got their lips done and so on. I'm telling you, they're trying to look like him. Now, they've had a lot of other influence. One thing that I'm definitely going to have to bring up, and I'm sorry to keep on giving you like cliffhangers, but we are going to have to talk about at another time, the whole fetishization of having mixed race children. Like, so many women aspiring to have mixed race children rather than thinking about the fact that they want to be in a long-term healthy relationship before having children. We are definitely going to cover that, but that is going to have to be covered in a whole other video because there's too much to say on it. But what is undeniable is that the Kardashians have influence. I asked people on my Instagram what they thought of the Kardashians, what impact they felt that the Kardashians were having on people in society, and it wasn't all negative. Please don't think that. One person said to me she feels like they promote family values. One thing that's undeniable is they're a very close-knit family, they stick together, sisters supporting sisters, even though sometimes they can be quite nasty to each other. I only know this through the shade room, so I'm no expert. But still, regardless of how they started out, they also are good business women and so on, so that makes other women aspire to become business women, which I think is amazing. Also, they are encouraging women to embrace their curvy bodies. However, we can't ignore the other effects that they have. Promoting reality TV culture, people feeling like the way to get fame is to just be on reality TV, to not actually offer or do anything in society, but instead to kind of just be there living and have a camera follow them around. Like, get your money, get your bag, but I just feel like there's a lot more that people can be doing. And reality TV is huge. And if you don't see the effects of reality TV and how it's influencing our world and how our world is shifting, first of all, you need to go and watch Black Mirror, which is terrifying because it is so realistic and comparable to right now. But just think about it. Kim Kardashian went and visited another person who is very famous from reality TV. Yes, he was a businessman, but one of the main reasons why Trump is known and was supported by many people other than his questionable campaigns is because he was a reality TV star. The fact that he would want to speak to another reality TV star shows where we are in society today. Furthermore, like I said, they are the face of cultural appropriation, and how at this stage in time, people see it as okay to copy or take parts of other people's culture through appreciating it. And because they are showing that and they are the benchmark of what people aspire to be, it means if they're doing something, many other girls are going to do it as well. Finally, the other thing that they're doing to influence people, other than the fame, other than the money, other than the questionable fashion choices and potential cultural appropriation, they are also inspiring lots of young women and men to get plastic surgery. Regardless of whether Kim wants to admit that she's had her bum done, whether the rest of them want to admit that they've had some form of surgery or fat transfers, whatever, the fact is that people are seeing these figures on a daily basis, they're seeing the photoshopped images, and they aspire to look like that. An impossible example of what beauty looks like, and therefore they are going to impossible, dangerous lengths to follow that trend. So, in a nutshell, that's how I feel like the Kardashians are impacting our society at the moment. That's just my opinions. Please share your opinions below. Again, this is a dialogue. Do you think that they've made positive changes in our society? Do you think they've made negative? Do you like the Kardashians? Do you dislike them? Why? What are your thoughts on their cultural appropriation? What do you think about her wearing boxer braids or Bo Derek braids? What are your thoughts? Please leave all of your comments below, and I will see you next time. Bye.